We're here with Sweetwater Police Chief Eddie Byram today. Just going to ask him a few things about law enforcement in Sweetwater. Eddie, we thank you for spending a few minutes with us today.
Oh, we're glad to have you here today.
I just want to talk about, obviously everybody knows that police, their job is to enforce laws. If there's somebody here breaking the law, we're going to go arrest them. But also a big part of what you all do is crime prevention. Is that correct?
That's exactly.
Tell us, how can citizens help you as law enforcement to prevent crimes before they happen?
Well, one great thing they can do, Brian, is just be alert about their surroundings. You know, just observe what's going on around them. And if, like we try to tell people, you know, don't allow yourself to be a victim. You know, if you're, for example, if you're parking your car at a Walmart or a convenience store somewhere and you get out to go inside, you know, take your keys out of your vehicle, you know, because people look for easy opportunities.
You know, in this time where shootings are happening in public and stuff, people may say, well, we saw something, but we didn't think to say anything. Or sometimes people will see something and think that's not that big of a deal. I probably shouldn't bother the police with that. What's your response to that?
Oh, we always encourage everyone, you know, please call and please report what you see. You know, a lot of times, like you're just exactly what you said, Brian, I've had people say, well, we don't want to bother you or something. We know you're busy or this and that going on. But 442-HELP, and I have it written down, 442-4357. You know, just give a call on that and somebody will get right back with you. We also have email, anonymous email that's on the city's website that people feel free to use.
So people need to, you know, if there's one little inclination that something's not right or something looks out of place or they don't feel comfortable, they don't need to worry about bothering you. They just need to call the police just to be safe, right?
That's what we always try to encourage everyone. If it's anything, it just makes you feel uncomfortable. You know, if you're just at home alone and you hear that bump in the night or something like that, you know, call the police. An officer will come out. They'll check around your house for you. You know, they'll make sure everything's secured like that. And we always say we'd much rather you call us, have an officer come out and check things out than for there to actually be something wrong and you miss out on calling where we could investigate.
You mentioned having somebody come out and check around your house. I'm sure a lot of the calls you all take are theft or burglary on somebody's private property. Give us some tips. What can citizens do at their homes, their private property, to help prevent being a victim of burglary?
We have a program that our detectives will come out to your house. If you just call into the police department at 337-6151, and if you'll call in, schedule an appointment, a detective to come out to your house to kind of just look around your house with you, and they'll give you suggestions. One of the things that we find a lot of times people do, Brian, is they let bushes, shrubbery, they let it grow up high around their windows, and that kind of provides cover for somebody to come in. And of course, lighting is big. You know, you want it lit up as well as you can, because as we always know, you know, crime likes darkness.
Yeah. Now let's say I'm a victim of burglary. What's some things I could have done ahead of time to maybe help you track that down that was stolen, or track that perpetrator down? Serial numbers of things in my home. What could I have done to help?
Oh, one thing that's great, and we tell everybody now with all the resources that we have, you know, by all means try to get your serial numbers. You know, try to take a photograph. At the Sweetwater Police Department, we participate in a program called Leads Online, and that's one of our great investigative tools. But it all starts with having those serial numbers recorded.
As we begin getting toward the holiday season, of course, a lot of the folks who are going to see and hear this are local business owners who are selling merchandise. How's that different? What do they need to do to not be a target of burglary during the holiday season, people coming into their store?
One thing we always encourage as our business, of course, is to be alert what's going on. You know, we've got a lot of antique stores downtown, and they have multiple vendors that set up inside their stores. And we try to tell those folks, you know, take plenty of pictures, you know what's going on, and just be alert about who's coming in. If you see a couple coming in without an infant and they're pushing a baby stroller, you know, that ought to be an indicator that there's something going on. A lot of backpacks, you know, if you see a person carrying in backpacks or something like that, you know, not saying that everybody that has those are looking to commit a crime, but it's just indicators.
Sweetwater Police Chief Eddie Byram with us today. Eddie, we've touched on a few programs that the police department offers its citizens. What are some other things that people may not be aware of that they can take advantage of?
Well, one thing that we've been very successful at, I'll say, is we have a active shooter intruder classes that we teach. If anybody has a business or a church and they'd like for our department to come out to you and instruct that, I have an instructor that's been state certified in it. He'll be glad to come out, no cost to the business or the church, and just lead you guys through it.
One other thing that people may not know that you all do, let's say somebody's going out of town and they're apprehensive of being gone a week and they're home unprotected. They can contact you guys and y'all will pay a little closer attention to their property, right?
Oh, that's very easy. It's called our House Watch program. Let's say, for example, someone's going on vacation. They know they're going to be gone for 7 days, and that's very fortunate if they get to leave for 7 days. but if they're getting to take a 7-day vacation, they can call Vanessa at the number I told you earlier, 337-6151, or they can just drop by the PD casually and fill out a form. It'll just ask for an emergency contact person when you're leaving, and of course when you return, because we always encourage you when you get home to give us a call, let us know you're coming home, especially if you come home earlier. Because what you'll have an officer coming to your house every day, and they'll just do an inspection of the outer part of your house.
And even if you're home or you're at your business, and you may have mentioned this earlier, if you don't feel comfortable with something, you guys will come and do a security check and just make sure there's nobody hiding out back or any of that sort of thing.
But we encourage all of our businesses, we encourage them, and what we call it just a walkthrough. If they'll call that 442-HELP number and just tell them, say, hey, I'm here at this business and I feel uncomfortable. I've got somebody in the store that just kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. The officer will respond. They'll do a walk through the store, make sure everything's okay. As well at your house. If you live in a subdivision or a house here in the city and you have a suspicious person, maybe you've seen a vehicle sitting outside. We get that a lot of times, Brian. Maybe there's a vehicle sitting outside your house and it just makes you feel uncomfortable. By all means, call. And I always tell people this, if you feel threatened at all, call that 911 number. Yeah. That's the easiest number for me to remember.
One of the most common jokes I'm sure you get as a law enforcement officer is you eat a lot of donuts, right?
We have heard that. Let me tell you a little story about where that comes from sometimes, Brian. We do programs, it's actually not a program, it's community policing, where we go around the businesses. I think two of the most dangerous jobs, one of which being is a convenience store worker at night. And that is one I think is very dangerous. And what we'll do, the officer will go through, they'll make periodic checks, going through all the convenience stores that's open, and they may just step inside, get a cup of coffee or say hello to the clerk or something like that, and just to let them know that the law enforcement's around. That way people, if they do have bad intentions, hopefully they'll see the officer and they'll keep the crime from happening.
Just because they see the cruiser sitting at the convenience store doesn't mean that they're taking a break. They're actually checking on that business and making sure everything's okay.
That's exactly right. Or we may be doing a bank escort. A lot of times if you have a business and you'd like for the police department to give you an escort to the bank, make deposits or stuff like that, we'll be glad to come out and do that as well.
Tell us what the police department does on behalf of seniors.
We've got a lot of great programs for our seniors. One of the things that we're really glad to be able to help with the seniors is cons. There's so many people trying to just con everyone now, and unfortunately they try to target our seniors. One of the most recent cons that we've had is through the telephone. They'll call them and tell them they're with Medicare or an insurance provider or something like that, and they need their Social Security number, stuff like that. We offer classes. If a church or an organization, civic organization, or if just an individual wants more information about it, we have pamphlets that we'll be glad to come out. We've got them on safety for our seniors, and we'll be glad to come out and sit down and go over some of the home security, safety things. Go over when you go to town, when you get out, lock your car. One of the biggest things we see people do, Brian, we will see them, and I've witnessed this before. We'll see people go park their vehicle somewhere and then get out and put their purse in the trunk. And that's just pretty much telling everybody, that you may have something valuable in your trunk. So we just kind of safety tips like that we'll tell them. But of course we'll tell them, about the con prevention, stuff like that. Pavement sealing. That's another big crime that we have people try to con. They'll come around and they'll try to start trimming your bushes, any odd jobs, pavement sealing like that, because what they're going to always ask for, they're going to ask for money up front. Yeah. And then the majority of the time they don't show back up.
And just to follow up on that tip, for the people watching and listening, don't ever give your personal information across the phone like that.
Never. Never, and that's one thing. And they're smooth talkers when they contact you. You know, they'll try to get you in conversation, and then before you've known it, you've give your social security number up.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lady just last week call me, and she's like, "Well, what do I do? I've given up my social security number." And we got to talking, and it was basically a con.
Sweetwater Police Chief Eddie Byram with us today. We're actually with him in his office here at Sweetwater Police Department. Eddie, tell us what you have going on at the schools, what kind of programs you have for the kids.
This is a very exciting week. Besides it being coming off of the Tennessee-Alabama week, it's the Red Ribbon Week in our schools. And what Red Ribbon is, it's an anti-drug program that we do. We go into every one of our schools that's in the city limits, and we go in and we try to get a few minutes with the kids. You know, tell them about the dangers of drugs and where they'll lead you to.
October is Domestic Violence Month. Just tell us what the police department tries to do to help prevent domestic violence.
And that's a good point. If you see the purple ribbons around, that's what they're for. They're for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we have a couple officers in our department that in our police department we're required to have so much training each month, and we really are putting an emphasis on domestic violence. And these officers are making sure that our policies are up to current standards, and that the officers know how to really help the victims. That's what we're making an emphasis on now, is helping the victims of domestic violence.
Eddie, one last thing. Is there anything that you would like to share with the people who might be watching this video or listening on the radio, the Sweetwater citizens? Anything else you would like to share with them?
A key thing, like you touched on earlier, is just about calling us, Brian. If you feel uncomfortable, we're just a phone call away. You know, if you see something going on in your neighborhood, please alert us to it. Please help us. You know, they'll not know who called in. We'll keep it secretive to them. They'll not know who called in. And our police department we're here to provide a service. You know, we're to protect and serve, and we put a huge emphasis on protecting and serving. And any way that we can be a help to somebody, we still unlock car doors. You know, if you get out in town and in the city, you know, you call the police department or you call the dispatch number, we'll send an officer out and unlock your car.
Well, Eddie, we appreciate your time, and we thank you for all that the Sweetwater Police Department does. I think seriously that we have one of the best police departments around, and thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate it, and I thank you very much for stopping by.